Hello, F1 fans, and welcome back to F1 Blogs. Today, we're diving into the latest news around Max Verstappen following his eventful Mexican Grand Prix and what's in store for him as he heads to Interlagos. From a hefty penalty to possible engine complications in Brazil, Verstappen has a lot to face. Stick around as we break down all the details, including what his rivals and team have to say. And if you're a true F1 fan, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any updates. A controversial race in Mexico. After a tough Mexican Grand Prix, Max Verstappen found himself in the headlines for more than just his sixth-place finish. His aggressive racing style led to a double incident with McLaren's Lando Norris, for which Verstappen was penalized 20 seconds, 10 seconds for each maneuver. These penalties affected his standing, reducing his lead in the championship to 47 points. But rather than expressing frustration, Verstappen opted for humor. He joked about the 20-second penalty, saying, "Next time, I might just have a drink at the pit stop. There's plenty of time." The comment showed that Verstappen wasn't too fazed by the penalty, preferring to make light of the situation rather than diving into the debate over fairness. The FIA's decision and team reactions. Following the race, Verstappen continued with his humorous tone but acknowledged the challenges posed by the FIA's sanctions, adding, "Well, next time I'll aim for a 30-second penalty, maybe that'll be a record." He admitted that he won't change his approach on the track, explaining, "Last week, that was okay, this week, it's a 20-second penalty. It's just how it is." However, Verstappen's rivals, including Lando Norris, viewed the penalties as justified. Norris commented, "Max wasn't clean today. He never makes it easy for anyone, especially now. Today wasn't fair or clean racing, and he got what he deserved." This sentiment was echoed by a large portion of F1 fans, with around 85% of voters in an F1 Blogs poll agreeing with the penalty's fairness. On the other hand, Verstappen's team defended him, with Red Bull Racing's Christian Horner and Helmut Marko speaking out against the double penalties. Horner argued that Norris also contributed to the incidents, suggesting that his late braking made it nearly impossible for Verstappen to avoid contact. Marko called the penalties harsh and speculated that they might be a response to similar incidents that occurred in Austin. He stated that racing is getting complicated when drivers need a manual to know how to overtake, indicating the team's frustration with the strict enforcement. What's next? Engine change and grid penalty in Brazil. Now, Verstappen might be looking at yet another challenge as he heads into the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Red Bull Racing is contemplating an engine change, which could mean a 5-place grid penalty. This engine swap is under consideration due to the high demands of the Interlagos track and Red Bull's concerns about their current power unit's lack of top speed. According to Marko, they've observed that Verstappen's car was consistently 3 to 8 km/h slower on the straights than its main rivals. The engine used during the Mexican GP already had significant mileage, and Red Bull admitted it wasn't ideal for a high-stakes race. Brazil's Interlagos track is known for long straights where top speed is crucial, and with their current power deficit, Red Bull might opt for the swap, even if it costs them grid positions. Marko shared that while the 5-place penalty would be tough, Interlagos offers more overtaking opportunities than many other circuits, meaning Verstappen could still make up lost ground in the race. Brazilian Grand Prix strategy, regaining the lead. With his championship lead trimmed, Verstappen and his team are looking for ways to optimize every aspect of his performance. Red Bull's focus has shifted to regaining lost speed, ensuring Verstappen can remain competitive despite the potential grid penalty. The Brazilian GP's layout, including the Senna S and the long straights, plays well to aggressive overtaking, so Verstappen could have an advantage if he needs to make up positions. Meanwhile, as the tension builds, the team must decide whether the potential performance boost from a new engine is worth the starting penalty. Verstappen's ability to manage the car's degradation, along with the team's strategy, could make all the difference. But with increased scrutiny from the FIA and rivals watching closely, Verstappen will need to walk a fine line between his characteristic aggressiveness and controlled precision. What fans think, is the FIA being too strict? Fans are divided on the FIA's recent disciplinary measures, especially regarding Verstappen. Some argue that the stricter regulations and penalties are making F1 too soft, saying that part of the sport's appeal lies in the raw, unfiltered racing style. Verstappen's aggressive approach, they argue, is a reflection of traditional F1 spirit, unpredictable, intense, and thrilling. Others, however, feel the FIA is rightly enforcing standards that promote safer and cleaner racing, given the speeds and risks involved. They believe Verstappen's penalties are justified, especially as the sport seeks to balance excitement with sportsmanship. With F1 now reaching a global audience of all ages, the FIA's push for decorum and safer competition could represent a natural evolution. Stay connected with F1 blogs for the latest updates. That wraps up today's deep dive. What do you think about Verstappen's penalties in Mexico and his potential grid penalty in Brazil? Is the FIA's crackdown on aggressive moves and strict penalties fair, or is it taking away from the sport's thrill? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe to F1 blogs for all the latest F1 news, race analyses, and driver updates. See you next time.